Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Crescent Sound podcast, where I give you a platform to express your struggle stories. You can either email me your stories on thecrescentsound@gmail.com and I present them on the podcast for you, or I can have you come on as a guest on the podcast and you can tell your story by yourself. Anyways, I'm your host, Luna, and let's begin with today's episode. Hi everyone, welcome to the 11th episode for the Crescent Sound, and today I have another special guest with me. And recently, I know I've been having a lot of guests, but you know what? I really love having guests. It's like so fun when you're talking to another person, and they're telling their story, right? And personally, I feel like today's guest is gonna be really fun to have around. So everybody, please welcome my friend Fina. Hi, Fina.
Hi Luna, how are you, my dear?
I'm good, Fina. How are you doing today?
I am surviving a new day, a new struggle, but
You know what?
it is what it is.
Aren't we all surviving the new
Eh,
struggles that everyday life
Amen,
brings to
amen to
us?
that.
Fun fact, I was born on the 11th of September, so this 11th episode
Ah,
is like personalized to me.
it's exceptionally special.
Yep,
How
exactly.
fortunate am I?
You are, you know what? I am fortunate to have you on this
Ah,
podcast. I'm so happy to have you here.
the pleasure
So,
is all mine, Luna.
would you like to tell the audience a little bit about yourself,
I mean, not revealing too much. I am, oh Lord, I'm 22 years old. I have seen a lot of summers in my time, and uh, I am doing my degree right now, a master's degree in biotechnology, and I think I'm
Mm-hmm.
enjoying my life a lot right now. So things are going good.
I'm so glad that you're enjoying your life. I'm so happy. There's at least someone that's happy out there in this very dark, grim world. But,
Truly.
um, yeah. So, would you like to just start off the bat with your story?
I mean, sure, why not?
Of course.
So the overarching theme of my story would be how the process of othering others, right, can have a leading impact on people's lives. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually was born and brought up in Chennai, right?
Mm-hmm.
And over there, at least when I was, younger at that time,
Yeah.
you know how kids they tend to be stupid, right? Anything which is
Yeah.
different, they tend to, make a mountain out of a molehill or a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things which they do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, uh, the school which I used to go to, it used to be near a temple town, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like an ancient temple used to be right next to the school, in the same locality as the school,
Mm-hmm.
and hence there were a lot of different caste people over there. I won't point out which caste it is exactly, but I'm pretty sure people will understand what it is. So
Mm-hmm.
this is not to generalize people, but
Yeah, yeah.
it is it is what it is.
It's fine. Yeah, we get it.
So I was a non-vegetarian, like I still am,
Mm-hmm.
and being like living in Mumbai right now, right? Being in a metropolitan city, people don't think much of it, but I used to come from the heart of the city, which was a very conservative area in general.
Mm-hmm.
So being a non-vegetarian over there was, in a way, I used to be othered over there, if it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. There was one day where I got ghee rice and egg to
Mm-hmm.
class, and I think I was in third standard by that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody made such a big deal out of it, like as if I was some kind of a monster for eating egg, right? And
Egg.
like
Okay.
eating egg of all things, I think it was a sunny side up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was something which I used to enjoy eating a lot at home, right? But
Okay.
for them it was something, what can I say? As if I bought squirrel heads in my tupper or something, right?
Uh-huh.
Something very different.
Yeah.
So once that incident happened, there was like uh, people did not want to sit next to me in class, for example, or they did not want to like touch the books which I used to use. And the teachers, they really did not do anything about it, which was so surprising, which is very
What?
surprising looking in hindsight, right? You would expect
Honestly,
them to say something about it. Yeah.
honestly, I feel like the teachers themselves, if they would have said something, they would have said something like sort of negative towards you, anyways, because you were living in that sort of community,
Mm,
right?
right, right, right.
It's looked down upon. But what the hell? It's eggs. Everybody loves eggs. If you don't
Of
like
all
eggs, you
things,
should try one.
no truer words, I'm telling you. And eggs are like so used in culinary uh,
I know.
dishes, right? So something so basic, and they were like, "Oh, you bought eggs to school. You must be eating all sorts of non-vegetarian things." So this happened. the fri the friends which I had since like LKG and UKG in
Mm-hmm.
kindergarten and in first standard and second standard, all these kind of people suddenly they stopped talking to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they did not want to interact with me at all. So it really had a, what can I say? I don't know how to exactly describe the feeling, but it hits you, right? It
Mm-hmm.
hits you all of a sudden.
Like
And
betrayal, I guess.
betrayal, I don't know if it's betrayal or not, but you tend to feel lonely in a way, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
like food which I used to enjoy at home, which my parents used to, my grandmother and mother used to cook with so much of effort, love and effort, that people were considering that to be some kind of impure item, right? So it was a sort of a cognitive dissonance in my mind. And
Mm-hmm.
since I was like in third standard, maybe what can I say? Maybe 8 years old or something, 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
So it was really a lot of things to process at that time. And
Mm-hmm.
children being children, they used to treat me bad. So this thing continued at fourth standard, where people did not want to sit next to me and stuff. In fifth
What?
standard, what
Okay.
happened was we used to have a huge playground in
Mm-hmm.
a bit away from the school, and there were a bunch of kids who started to throw stones at me, right? Saying
Oh
that,
my
you're a
god.
non-vegetarian, you should
Okay.
not come here. And that was in their head, for whatever reason, they found it appropriate to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
when I told this to my parents, they finally, had at that time they realized, okay, we should probably like just change schools at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And by that time, we had some other types of, what can I say, situations which led us to like shift from that place in general. So
Mm-hmm.
the next school which I went to, I changed school quite a few times after that, after fifth standard.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's why what I realized was making friends for me because of these sets of incidents has always been a bit of an issue. I was always that silent, weird kid who, just joined and stuff. And these schools which I used to go to, these students over there, like the previous students over there, they used
Mm-hmm.
to know each other from kindergarten, right? So,
Yeah.
like, entering a well-established friend circle, that used to be that in itself is a challenge, right? I think most
Mm-hmm.
people might understand this, who like change schools a lot during their time. So
Yeah.
it really had an effect. So, like, as you know, Jimmy, I like guys, right? Being a guy myself. So
Mm-hmm.
once I started to realize that I like guys, I thought that I had some kind of bizarre mental disease, right? As
Okay.
if this was the thing, this is the new egg and rice story. Like, once people start to know that I like guys, I have this weird mental disease, they will stop talking to me now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this I discovered maybe when I was in class 8 or something. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
four-ish to the 3-ish years later, right?
Mm-hmm.
The friends which I made from seventh standard and eighth standard, I had to like, I think this is something which queer kids, especially from my generation, would relate to a lot, because
Mm-hmm.
I think it was around 2013 or 14 when homosexuality was recriminalized in India by the
Mm-hmm.
Supreme Court, and all the big drama and all happened till 2018 with the decriminalization at that time. So that wound was still fresh. The wound from recriminalization of Section 377, it was still fresh. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why it only added to the fear which I had,
Mm-hmm.
right? Fortunately, like I did have a few accepting friends, and the communities which I interacted with online,
Mm-hmm.
that in a way made me feel more accepted in a way.
Yeah.
And this, like, I'm at a point in my life where I think I've healed from it. Whenever I like interact with people, I try to do my best in being courteous with them, and
Mm-hmm.
it pays in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm at a better place mentally in my life. I feel I've healed. So
Mm-hmm.
this struggle story turned into a success story in a way, if you think about it.
You know what? That's the whole point of this. Your struggle stories should turn into your success stories. That doesn't
Uh,
happen always, but you know what? I'm glad it happened for you. I am so happy that it happened for you.
thank you, my dear.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I can understand how sort of isolating it must have felt because, you know, not okay. Talking about just exclusively the egg thing, right? You know, this sort of mark is left on you where you're sort of clowned upon for having your own likings, right? That may be a tiny bit different from the norm.
Mm,
And I mean, I guess as you grow older, you grow some compassion or like grow some sort of like understanding that like what's different from the normal isn't bad, right?
exactly.
But I mean, as kids, I guess like things that seem different are sort of things that there's either two ways it goes about. Either it seems really novel and like really like sort of cool, like whoa, or
Hmm.
it goes the other way where I think this is not just kids. I think a lot of times in society comes across something that they consider new but has been around for a long time, right? It sort of gets rejected by society, right? Because no one likes
Hmm.
to sort of go out of their daily sort of
Comfort zone of sorts,
comfort
right?
zone. Yeah, comfort zone. Not just comfort zone. They're sort of like, how should I say? Like their day to day basis. Like they enjoy the sort of monotony, I guess.
This
Because,
sort of stability is a better word, I think.
yeah, stability is the better word. I wasn't able to find the right word,
Is
right?
is is okay.
But I mean, societies can only develop when they accept new changes. So,
Mm. Or else we will still be in mud huts throwing poo at each other.
exactly, like if certain people weren't ready to accept how, change occurs, then I mean, we wouldn't progress as a society in any way, whether it be technologically, scientifically, or socially. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I believe it's important to be open minded and accept change. But honestly, I'm so sorry that you got treated like that
I
because
mean, in a way, I think I'm glad that I had some sort of, experience like that because it made the person who I am today, right?
well, that's true, but like, you can't ever really say the type of person you would have been without that experience, right? You were a child. You didn't have to be stronger. You had to be a child.
Mm, makes sense. It does make sense.
Like you shouldn't be dealing with complex feelings of like isolation or like, people pleasing at a really young age. Actually, like a lot of people do go through this because
Mm.
of like their differences, right?
Hmm.
So, honestly, like as children, especially as children, you shouldn't be going through these things. You should be
Mm,
enjoying
that,
having
that's a
fun.
fair take on it.
Yeah. I don't know why society likes to sort of, you know, push everything onto kids, right? Like everyone, whenever new things come in, society will always be the first to be like, don't force this onto our kids. But in reality, they're already enforcing everything onto their kids.
Exactly.
I don't want to take any names, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Shh, we don't talk about those.
Yeah. So honestly, at a surface level, the story, like just the non-vegetarian thing, right? It seems like such a trivial thing, right? But people don't realize the sort of deep cuts it leaves,
True, true.
in the development of a person. Sometimes even the smallest actions have these sort of like this
Recurring consequences.
like a domino effect of sorts to sort of
I said recurring consequences, right? Or
yeah.
rippling consequences. It is
Yeah,
fine.
you said recurring, it's fine, but yeah, like sometimes the smallest actions are like the starters of like the biggest things. So, but you know what? At least you're better now. That's what matters.
I'm just better.
Exactly. You're just better now, Fina. So,
Uh,
yeah, I'm glad you've healed. And I mean, do
I
you.
hope, like, if other people have, gone through similar-ish situations, they too find healing in good
Mm-hmm.
time themselves as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you, Fina. And I mean, first of all, I would like to say I don't think this story is about being vegetarian or non vegetarian. That's not what the story is about. It's about sort of like how society will sort of criminalize you just for being different.
True, true.
So, just, I don't know, okay, some people lack some critical thinking skills, so I had to mention it.
Some
um,
some people you say.
okay, a lot of people, but yeah. But sometimes you need to like put out the obvious for people to understand.
True, true. Makes sense.
Yes. Okay. So to conclude this, is there any final word of like advice or like any conclusion you would like to leave us with, Fino?
Hmm. A piece of advice which has always helped me like navigate through my life, right? Was I was always a all right, what can I do next type person,
Mm-hmm.
right? I always tried to like immediately find solutions to problems which I face. So
Mm-hmm.
when it was like me being gay, right? That I always like try to think of what can be done next, what can be done next. And although it can like get tiring after a certain point, but at least you're getting work done, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least you're able to survive in that sort of in that situation. So, my piece of advice, main piece of advice would be not to dwell in your sorrows. It's to, try to find a solution as soon as you can. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
should allow yourself to cry, and you are, after all, you're a human being yourself, right? You should
Mm-hmm.
let yourself feel those emotions. But after a certain point, you gotta get up and dust your clothes and march forward. That it.
You know what? That's great advice because sometimes as humans we like to dwell in our sorrows and just make ourselves more sad.
Yeah,
And that happens very often, but at the end of the day, we have to move forward. So, no
there's
place to go but up.
no place to go. The show must go on. The party must go on.
Exactly. And I think that's where we'll end our episode. Thank you so much, Fina, for being here. I'm so glad that you came up and spoke about your story. And I'm sure,
Thanks so much, Luna. Thank you so much. The pleasure is all mine.
of course, I'd love to have you another time again.
Uh, maybe with a different struggle story.
Whatever
Uh,
story, maybe you're always welcome here, Fina. Okay.
thank you so much.
All right.
All right, and thank you to the audience as well
Yeah.
for staying with us for so many episodes now. Actually, 11 entire episodes, Luna.
Yeah, it's been like quite a journey because every week I get reminded, oh my god, I have a podcast. I have to update it, right? But honestly,
Yeah,
I'm having so much fun with this,
that's
and
that's the most important thing.
I hope the listeners also enjoy it just as much as I do because quite frankly, I'll probably continue this for a while since it is quite fun. It's like a sort of, detour from my normal monotonous like routine. So yeah, I like it.
Amen to that.
Amen. Exactly. All right, I think we will end the episode there. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and I'll see you next episode. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Crescent Sound. I hope you enjoyed and continue visiting this channel for more uploads. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to know immediately when I upload, and follow me on Instagram for updates on the coming episode for the Crescent Sound podcast.